My name is Neil Patel, and I help companies generate more revenue through digital marketing. Entrepreneur Magazine said I was the #1 marketer in the world, and they also said I created one of the 100 most brilliant companies. I started my first website at the age of 16. I took all the money that I earned from working at an amusement park, and I paid a marketing firm. The marketing firm provided no results, and I quickly learned that I wasn't alone. Out of my frustration and from being broke, I had no choice but to learn marketing. My first client was a power supply manufacturer. I helped him generate another $25 million in sales, and from that point, I realized the power of marketing. I helped everyone that I could, and I built my reputation by being honest and over-delivering. I've helped companies like Google, NBC, Viacom, General Motors, eBay, but nothing's more satisfying than helping small business owners succeed. I founded 4 multi-million-dollar companies, and I've learned all the mistakes that you should avoid. I've written about them on Forbes, Entrepreneur, Inc., Fast Company, and even on my own blogs. It's so awesome to know that colleges from all around the world are teaching my material in their classroom. Over the years, I've received awards from the President of the United States, the House of Representatives, and the United Nations. People believe marketing is expensive and difficult. Fortunately, that's not true. There is a formula. Even if you don't have a technical bone in your body, you can get results. And my mission is to share this formula with you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. I'm going to be sharing my screen so we can get started. Let's see. There you go. Window. Let's do entire screen. That'll make it a little easier. Can you guys see my screen? I'll take that as a yes. Enter full screen. So, all right, today we're going to be talking about building your e-commerce empire and lessons just from other successful online retailers, as well as us here. We all here have quite a bit of experience with e-commerce. So let's dive right in. So my name is Neil Patel. I'm the co-founder of an ad agency called NP Digital. We have some marketing tools, Uber Suggest, Answer the Public. We blog at neilpatel.com. Have been doing marketing for 21, 22 years now. And also joining from our team is David. David, do you want to give a quick introduction on yourself?
Sure thing. Excited to be here. I'm David Hutchinson. I'm trying to catch up with Neil's experience. I think I'm over 2 decades now of digital marketing experience. I'm very proud to be working at Neil Patel Digital as the VP of Marketplaces.
And John, do you want to give a quick overview on yourself?
Yeah, you bet. My name is John LeBaron. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer at a company called Pattern. I've been at Pattern for 5 years. We are Amazon's largest seller, so we're going to be talking a little bit about marketplaces, but we also sell on all over the world on platforms from Alibaba's Tmall and Lazada to all of the Amazon marketplaces globally, to Mercado Libre down in Latin America, to a number of other marketplaces all around the world, eBay, Walmart, Target, and other global marketplaces. So very excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and to give you guys an idea, when you think about Pattern success, they're quite large. You guys raised a lot of money, right? What was the amount that you guys raised? It was, I think, hundreds of millions. I could be wrong.
Yeah, we did a Series A for $50 million in 2020, and then in 2021 we raised another, $225 million. So it's definitely, we've got a war chest still, and we're profitable, and so yeah, we're just gonna keep going, keep growing. We're up 40% this year, and we'll continue to kind of keep growing. Marketplaces and e-commerce are obviously not going away. That's why we're all here, and so yeah, very happy to contribute to the discussion today.
So who are we at NP Digital? We have, a good amount of clients, both enterprise and S&P. We have over 750 employees. We're in 9 countries, a lot of big brands. This slide here isn't to brag. We don't think, we know everything. It's more so we wouldn't be able to work with a lot of these brands unless the tactics and the results didn't work. So when all 3 of us today are breaking down some of the tactics, just keep in mind they're battle tested and proven. Yeah, there's a lot of amazing e-commerce companies out there that a lot of you guys can check out and look up to. Most of them you guys already know, like Amazon, the world's largest online retailer. They're in so many different countries. They're fast with their shipping. They revolutionize a lot of things with things like Prime. And now all e-commerce companies or all consumers expect e-commerce companies to ship really fast and make sure it's always on time. And it's so successful that people like me are buying my toilet paper or toothpaste and toothbrushes and everything you can think of on instead of going to grocery stores. And that's why they're the largest online retailer. Zappos, funny enough, Amazon ended up buying them. They have amazing customer service. What was really cool, I remember years and years ago when I was flying to the airport, when you take off your shoes before there was TSA pre, every shoe bin said Zappos, at least in the airports I was flying to, and it had a placement for or outline of where you should put your shoes. And I remember they offered, amazing refund policy, and they're one of the first to do that, which made Zappos an extremely popular company. Shopify, you guys all know Shopify. Companies of all sizes are using their platform. There's a lot of plugins and stuff that make Shopify really easy. Really popular marketplace. Check them out if you already haven't checked them out. And then, of course, ASOS. They have a really amazing social media presence with over 11 million followers. It's driving a ton of sales. You can use influencers to build up some of your social following. It's a super effective strategy. There's a lot of e-commerce companies that have done this, so don't take that for granted.
Great. So what did we learn in more detail from these companies, and how can we apply them? A huge learning from Amazon, Zappos, and ASOS. So as they as this quote puts from Jeff Bezos, they're customer obsessed. Zappos also has a great way of putting it. Many years ago, they described themselves as a service company that also happens to sell shoes. And this isn't lip service. This is ingrained in all these companies' DNAs. They design everything with the customer first. For instance, at Amazon, they don't use PowerPoint for ideas. Everyone finds a customer's problem, and then they build to solve that problem by writing it up on paper. Substance over style. Ultimately, if a client has a great experience and satisfaction, then the sales will naturally come in the minds of these three great companies. However, if you put profits over people in designing your e-commerce business, you're going to eventually be outpaced. Put people over profit, and that can be inversed. In fact, next slide. Do you mind? Sorry, thank you. There was a bit of delay with the slide there. According to consultants and advisors, Deloitte, they found that a customer-centric company is 60% more profitable than one that isn't. Next slide. Okay. Another learning is that companies like Shopify and Amazon innovate, right? Amazon does not rest on a broad range of products and margins. Prime delivery, for instance, was groundbreaking, but they continue to try and shorten that delivery period, whether you live in a city or somewhere more rural. They even innovate on returns, allowing someone like me to not even package up an item I want to return. Now I can pop into my local Kohl's, which is a department store in the US, and hand in that Amazon item. Kohl's were damn smart with allowing this because they get extra footfall through their stores. So shout out to Kohl's for that one as well. Shopify, on the other hand, has made the pain of launching your own platform virtually disappear. breaking down barriers for the business owner to start an e-commerce site with great product and ideas. However, they continue to innovate, not just on the platform, but with add-ons to help with the front-facing side of e-commerce. But crucially, now they're looking beyond that. Next. So in 2022, they realized that there were more barriers to running a business that they can remove. And removing those barriers are more likely for you to stick with their product. So in 2022, the company launched Shopify Balance, a service that helps business owners transfer money automatically to payroll, for instance, and creating those ancillary services that help a customer with a problem they didn't even realize they had hugely helps the consumer, and for Shopify can drive a 45% year-on-year growth. Creating value can be obvious, but sometimes the best value is when you don't even realize the efforts that have gone into building an e-commerce empire. Zappos and ASOS, for example, have created a seamless shopping experience where convenience is first. Hard to imagine that in 2023 that free shipping was championed by the likes of Zappos. Even harder to imagine nowadays is that so often free shipping is not a standard out there today. With ASOS, complete outfits and a social presence with everything on their website reflected in social platforms, etc., means that their website and shopping potential truly extends across the web. They both work hard on reducing friction to make sure that the time spent by a customer is taken on what to buy, not how to find where to buy. There are key indicators that can have a huge impact. Things like loading speed just put people off and are very noticeable, often caused by a bloating of tags or load speeds of content. Yes, you might get to be able to retarget these people through tags more often, but at what cost? Well, a 1% delay in loading speed can have a huge detriment in conversions. It should be a KPI that is constantly monitored. Other KPIs that should be constantly monitored are things like on this list. So things like Net Promoter Score, NPS, aka star ratings that customers give you. A 5-star review should not be a problem. The other week, I was in a Uber that drove like it was auditioning for Fast and Furious. I felt really car sick, etc. Did not like the ride at all. But at the same time, I realized that this was this person's living, so I didn't want to be overly critical. So after the ride, I tipped them and had no intention of making an issue about it. I did, however, leave a 4 out of 5 star. Uber immediately knew that there was a problem. After all, 4 stars is not 5 stars, and that concerned them. 4 stars and below should concern your empire. Other KPIs we recommend you have are a maniacal view on are customer reviews. If people take the time to leave you a review, product development and all sorts of insights can be derived from them, positive or negative. If your add to cart rate does not convert to a purchase, ask and find out why. If customers are not coming back, this is a challenge. Yes, your product might not be something that needs repeat purchases, but all empires should have repeat purchases, because if someone is happy with a product, they buy for friends and family. If your app is not being downloaded at the right rate, then you have a messaging and findability issue. And anything that less than 5 stars on your app is also a huge issue and is a reflection on your business. which goes back to the top of the list. Mobile is just as important as desktop, more so in today's on-the-go world. Lastly, you may have something truly unique to sell, but chances are you probably don't. Or if you do, it won't stay that way forever. Unless you stand for something, then you don't differentiate yourself from the competition. If you don't differentiate to the competition, then customers ultimately focus on price of product and speed of delivery. So to combat eroding margins and by standing for something that your customers stand for, your consumers become advocates, not only for the brand, but the products. In fact, 87%, as you can see, of customers states that they would purchase a product from a company that advocates for an issue that they care about. Next slide. There we go. ASOS have achieved this by addressing some of the main problems involved with fashion. They make sure that their models promote body positivity. They try and stand by environmental issues and make sure that their manufacturers treat their workers fairly. They also promote recycling of materials and make sure all of their items have not been derived from endangered species, meaning well-known bodies such as PETA support them. And lastly, they make sure that their own employees are happy and proud to work for them.
So now let's talk about building your own e-commerce empire. Well, if you think about e-commerce just as an overall market, it's up. If you type it into Google Trends, or if you look at any of the stats or data out there, the volume of transactions that are happening in the e-commerce space is continually rising. And sure, you can say in this economic climate, things aren't as growing as fast. They may be a little bit down. But generally speaking, if you look at the trend line, it's pretty much up and to the right, and it'll continue going that way for a very, very long time. In 2022, e-commerce sales reached 6.54 trillion. Just think about that for a minute. $6.54 trillion. That's a lot of money. And the way you end up achieving those, growth and getting more and more revenue for your e-commerce site is through the steps here, right? And it's not just choosing a niche or building a website or building an email list. There's much more to each and every single step. For example, with building an email list, you can't just build an email list. You got to clean your list constantly. You got to segment your list. You got to collaborate with other people and cross promote. Even for your website, when you have people coming, you got to optimize conversions from running A/B tests, having call to actions, from adding upsells and downsells, so that way you can increase the average cart value. So then that way you can end up spending more money on advertising and scale faster. Right? There's a lot of steps you have to take, and you guys can just take a screenshot of this, or funny enough, this video will be on our YouTube. So you don't really need to take a screenshot. But when you start following a lot of these steps and you do all the strategies and the implementations and take the actions that you need to, over time, you'll notice that your e-commerce business will go from starting off or not generating as many sales as you want to really scaling and automating, and then you'll start adding more products or even brands to generate more and more revenue over time. There's really 5 pillars of an e-commerce empire that you need to focus on if you want to do well from a marketing aspect. Now, let's start with the very first one, which is you need a big brand. Brands are super, super important, and I'll show you a stat in a little bit, and it'll help you explain why. So the issue that you have in e-commerce is there's a ton of competition. Everyone is able to copy your product. If not now, it's a question of when. Yes, if you look at Apple, iPhone was one of the first smartphones, but now there's a lot of smartphones. Heck, they say some of the Samsung phones have much better cameras than even the iPhone. So over time, not only can people copy you, but sometimes they can build better features than you as well. And that starts taking over some of your revenue. The solution, though, is to build a big brand. Even though there's other cameras on other phones that are better than the iPhone, and Apple has a massive team, just in the camera division. I forgot the number, but it was well over 1,000 people that just work on the camera. People still buy the iPhone. People still buy Apple products. Why? Because in just generally, not just e-commerce, but generally, they have an amazing brand. Another company like that is also Nike. Nike has built an amazing brand. People keep buying them. And it's what Eric Schmidt, the ex-CEO of Google, once said. Being able to lead and motivate people is perhaps the most valuable quality a brand can have. And they believe that brands are the solution, not the problem. And brands how you sort out, companies from the cesspool. And when you think about it, this is why people choose Nike shoes. Sorry about this is why people choose Nike shoes or Apple computers or American Express for a credit card, or they choose, ASOS or, whatever brand they may be thinking about. When you look at this just basic graph right here, it's one of my favorite charts. You see Nike and you see shoes. Yes, Nike offers more products than just shoes. But look how their growth is. More people worldwide search for Nike over shoes. Now, I understand in certain countries they may use words like zapatos or other variations over shoes, but still, it just shows that Nike has built an amazing brand. Uber also did this in the taxi cab industry. Uber became so popular, it expanded. It grew the overall taxi cab industry drastically. They didn't just take market share away from the other players, they actually grew the whole industry. And that's the key, right? You need to build a brand. And the way you do that is you focus on amazing experience. You obsess about the customers, as Jeff Bezos once said, and we talked about that earlier. If you obsess about them and do what's best for them, over time, people will talk about your brand and you'll build amazing big brand.
A second way to build a big empire is to give away free tools. So as mentioned, and we'll keep repeating it in this webinar because it's so important. How do you stand out from your competitors? How do you move away from that pricing battle? Well, free tools is a really straightforward way of doing that. Tools that are relevant to what you are selling obviously helps. This could be calculators, guides on where and how to use your product more, anything that helps people come back to your site on days that they want to purchase and beyond is hyper useful because it helps to build that trust and credibility. Trust and credibility means that they not only ask you, do you have X or Y product specifically, but more importantly, an open-ended question of what should I buy from you as an established expert? And these tools can be offered in a value exchange way. An email address captured in exchange for a tool allows you to keep that conversation going via email or social marketing at a later stage. Take this example from a company called Amsale. Amsale is a wedding company. Selling wedding dresses online is not the easiest proposition, given the occasion and how important it is for wedding and bridesmaid dresses to fit and look good. Amsale recognized this as a problem for their customers and fixed it by creating a tool allowing you to preview how a dress would look. Extremely useful, and that invested technology would have also reduced returns. So a small investment to increase a conversion and reduce returns seems like a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, what's funny is I exported this presentation as a PDF, so it was my mistake. But on this slide, you would see the lady on the right in the middle box. There's no one in the middle box on this slide wearing the white dress. In essence, they're able to take an image, put the dress on the person and actually show what it would look like, which is an amazing experience because why would you just want to buy a product, right? Through e-commerce, you want to actually buy something that you know how it's going to look. And it's great for the company because it's also going to decrease refunds, not just increase sales, but decrease refunds, which costs companies money and it hurts their profit margins when they continue to get refunds because of that shipping cost.
Amazon are one of those companies where the consumer isn't even aware of the back end power at work, and some of the innovation they've done, such as their currency conversion. It's a great example of that. You can buy a product in the currency you want and not need to worry about exchange rates or hidden bank fees. And if you spend, I'm a Brit, so 10 British pounds on a US product, if you need to return it, you're not going to get 9.98 back or whatever. You will get 10 British pounds back. Once again, putting the consumer first and creating that frictionless experience.
So now let's go over drive massive traffic to your website, which is number 3. I also do realize there is a lag here. My internet's pretty fast, but for some reason, Restream is lagging a little bit. So let's go over number 3, drive massive traffic to your website. The challenge, it can be hard. There's just a lot of people that are competing. Everyone's saying we have similar products and amazing prices and free shipping and all these kind of things. So standing out is tough, which makes it harder to get traffic. Even if you've built a brand, it's still hard to get traffic. The solution is actually going omni-channel. And I learned this one, funny enough, from working with Expedia, specifically in Canada, years and years ago. I'm not talking about 4 or 5 years ago. I'm talking about quite a bit, a long time ago. And when I was working with them, they did an interesting study because everyone already knows what Expedia is, or most people do globally. And what they ended up doing was they said, hey, we're going to test what happens if we do TV ads, radio ads, Facebook ads, Google ads, and the list goes on and on. What they noticed was all their channels, not one channel, all their channels, even though people who already knew their brand, when they went omni-channel, their costs to acquire a customer on each of the channels went down roughly 10%. That's a massive amount. And Expedia owns a lot of different brands, like for hotels and bookings and all that kind of stuff, like hotels.com. And, at one time they owned a Trivago and the list goes on and on. So what they ended up doing is they ran this experiment on certain of their properties or websites. And they noticed that when they went omni-channel, the ones that did, they noticed a cost reduction. The ones that didn't, they didn't see a cost reduction. So the ones they didn't, they started doing it. Then they started seeing the cost reduction. That's the power of omni-channel. And if you look at how people are spending their time, they're spending their time on social media. They're spending their time on search engines. They're spending their time on email. If you want to capture people, you can't just rely on one channel. You got to test out the different channels, analyze them, and leverage them to maximize your sales. And it works really well when you start combining them and you start using the data on what's working in one channel to optimize the other channels. You should also be leveraging technology. There's so much cool technology out there. For example, a lot of people go in stores and they shop online and they do price comparison, and they do vice versa as well. They go online, look at something, and then they go in store. Well, you can do things like showcase an app or have QR codes or have money back guarantees or a price guarantee. You can push people to download the app and get special deals. You can even add some of these things to, let's say, a receipt that, when someone's checking out, what they can end up getting if they also purchase through a website as well. And you can also leverage timely content too. So for example, if someone's purchasing something from let's say your hardware store, you can create articles or have an app that breaks down how to use that tool. Or if someone purchases a toilet, with the toilet, you can actually have a little flyer with the QR code. Someone scans it, boom, they download an app or send them to a website, and it breaks down how to install that toilet step by step. Yes, you can put the instructions within the toilet box, but still also having the app makes that experience that much better as well. And as I mentioned, another cool strategy that I love, when people are checking out and they have a receipt, show them offers in that receipt, whether it's free shipping or coupons. All these strategies work extremely well. And I also mentioned free shipping. Free shipping, I love this one. We notice roughly a 10% increase when you offer free shipping. One of my buddies, Edward Yam, used to own tons of e-commerce companies. And years ago, before free shipping was really popular, one strategy he did, because he was selling cables. And I'm talking about like TV cables, and he couldn't afford to give shipping for a cable when people are only paying a few bucks because it would cost more for the shipping. So what he found is when he increased the price for his product to pretty much cover his shipping costs, and then said, hey, shipping is free, he ended up generating more sales and more revenue versus charging for shipping, even though it would have ended up being the same cost to the consumer, right? Because then at that point, the product was less and then he charged for shipping. But what he changed to was increase the product cost and offered free shipping. And that ended up generating him more sales. And that's something that you guys should check out and test if you can't afford free shipping.
Okay, so number 4, a lot of growth comes from conversion optimization, and we touched on this earlier with the KPIs of abandoned carts and loading speed. However, for every sale, there are probably 90 plus sales that did not convert. So whilst you might be hitting your targets and selling your inventory, always be looking at the barriers your website is creating. There might be too little information or maybe too much information. The website is where you're likely to be judged. Product and prices are only part of it. Remember, frictionless is also key. This means a user-friendly design, optimizing product pages and fast loading times. Yes, in 2023, most websites are responsive in their design, but that's not enough. You need images and navigations to look correct on a mobile device or any type of device that a person is using. And you need search engines to get people to the relevant pages as fast and as accurately as possible. Of course, here at Neil Patel, we stand by what we preach and therefore have a free guide to show you the top 27 elements that help a product page convert up to 50% more often. Highly recommend you to download it. And here we've got like a list of all the things that can also add value to an e-commerce site. And while a lot of these elements are frankly table stakes to make sure that you survive, there are extra elements that can help you not only survive, but thrive. Virtual try-ons, what other people have been buying, wish list items that are shareable, reasons and explanation of usage of your product, suggestions of complementary items, unit converters for the metric Brits like me, the ability to talk to an expert and user-generated content are all areas to consider. Balancing additional information without being too cluttered is a fine balance, but totally possible. Too little information, though, that's not good. In fact, 20% of shoppers abandon their cart because of unclear product information. Another reason why people abandon cart is because they get distracted and fully intend to come back. And if your product isn't essential, like Neil's toilet roll earlier on, they simply forget to complete that purchase. by creating something where people have fear of missing out, a countdown and limited stock, that if they can come back, that if they think they can come back, even if they intend to buy, life gets in the way. So by having a limited counter and limited stock, you create that sense of urgency and pleasure from the customer that they're shopping on your site at that time has got them something exclusive that their friends and family haven't. And the data backs this up. When our clients at Neil Patel have shown limited inventory for a limited time using those countdown timers, conversion has increased on average by nearly 24%.
So now let's go over the fifth strategy that you guys need to know, which is creating your own affiliate program. A lot of people knock affiliate programs, but it's a very amazing and effective way to scale up your revenue and end up generating more sales. The reason we love it is whether you're a large business or a small business, it's very cost effective from an economic standpoint. In essence, you only pay for sales someone is driving. And that's great because it doesn't cost you money to test out a lot of advertising campaigns. The affiliates are, and it also gives you a lot of insights on what is working and what's not working and what you should be doing to continually improve not only your overall marketing, but your conversion efforts and how you can educate other marketers or affiliates who are promoting your product. The real solution is you need to build an army of affiliate marketers. If you end up doing this, they can continue to drive sales through different channels, because what you'll find is some affiliates are good with, let's say, Facebook advertising. Others may be good with Google advertising. Others may be good at email marketing or SEO and creating those comparison sites like the 10 best toaster ovens. And then they list it in their affiliate for all 10 of them, assuming your website sells toaster ovens. Or they can do the same thing for, comfortable sweatpants or whatever it may be that you're selling. And those articles tend to rank really well because when people Google toaster ovens or sweatpants, they want to buy not just what's affordable, but they also want to get the best for the price. And the main steps you need to take with building your affiliate program, there's a few of them out there. They are, you need to choose a suitable affiliate management platform. And there's a lot here. You can check out any one of these, and there's also others as well. You also want to create promotional material and guidelines. And this one here is really, really important. If you don't create guidelines and rules, what you'll find is people will just start bidding on your own brand term. So let's say your brand name is ASOS and you have affiliates. Well, what they'll first start doing if you don't create rules is they'll just bid on your brand name and take your own traffic and the people that would already came to you, and you'll end up paying them commissions for sales you would have got without them. And yes, affiliates will do that. That's why you need to create rules and guidelines, as well as create the promotional materials. So that way they're armed with the creatives when they're going out to TikTok or Facebook. You also need to recruit affiliates. Some of these platforms do help with that. And you want to look for not just a sheer number of affiliates, but affiliates who have your audience. So what are bloggers out there that talk about stuff related to your space? Or who are people with social profiles with audiences similar to who you're targeting when you're selling your product? You also need to onboard them and train them. It's not just enough to give them the materials from a marketing and promotional standpoint and giving them the rules. You also need to say, hey, what can we help you with? Hey, this has worked well. When you posted this, you're getting this results. When you're posting this, it's not converting well. Here's some stuff that other people are doing. You need a handhold them, because if you don't, a lot of people won't get on board and they won't really generate any sales. Then you need to focus on the affiliates that are generating the majority of their sales, and you need to build relationships with them and maintain relationships with them. If you don't, they'll start moving and promoting other people's products, and you'll start losing affiliates over time as well. There's also a lot of different websites that you can just go and look at. Any major e-commerce company has affiliates. Go look at their affiliate pages. These pages are important because if you add these links to your footer in different areas of your website, it'll help you recruit affiliates, which in the long run will also help you generate more income.
All righty. So I think we're going to switch gears a little bit and speak specifically on Amazon, the empire within an empire. If you go to the next slide, the Amazon marketplace is pretty crazy. We can probably even skip to the next slide beyond this. It's just, there's so much going on at any given time, but it's a great place for businesses of any size to start selling their goods. If you go to the next slide, there's a ton of different basically stats around this. One of the stats actually that's not on here that I think about a lot is, at least in the United States, about 60% of all product searches now start on Amazon. So they've, consumers have been in, learned how to do this. It's like Pavlovian now. They just open up their app on their phone and they just go directly to search for any product. And so Amazon, we don't talk about it a lot, is now basically just a product search engine for hundreds of millions of people around the world. They did more than $600 billion in what we call GMV, gross merchandise value. And so it's just, as you read any of these stats, it's such a massive platform. And there are so many things, from Amazon Prime memberships to watching videos to the ease of return, to be able to just pay automatically. There's now buy with Prime on D2C websites that, Amazon customers can simply go there. So there's a lot of, just momentum right now. And it's not just Amazon. Marketplaces as a whole represent the largest share of all e-commerce sales. And so it's really, the smartest people that are trying to sell products are really looking at marketplaces as a complementary place to start, moving inventory around the world. If you go to the next slide here, we look at Pattern. Now, Pattern, again, is Amazon's largest seller. We sold more than $1 billion worth of goods for massive products. Brands partner with us to accelerate their sales all around the world. And we represent big brands like, Tumi and Nestle and Clorox and Panasonic and Sylvania and, a lot of big brands. But, the equation that we use is very, very similar to everything that you've been learning today from Neil Patel. And let's just start, the tricks here, they're not really tricks. They're just basic principles that we're continuing to drill in over and over. If you go to the next slide here, high level, the first thing you want to do is focus on increasing traffic. Neil's given a wide variety of different ways to increase traffic. On Amazon, it's a little bit different because, as he mentioned before, like step number one, it's building a big brand. Many of the searches, about 70% of the searches on Amazon today, are non-branded searches. So people are just looking for headphones or pillowcases or whatever it be. They're not necessarily looking for your brand. And so that becomes even more important to be competitive and ensure that you get your share of both the branded traffic and the non-branded. Amazon actually gives a lot of incentives when it comes to increasing traffic. They'll reduce your referral fee if you can prove that the traffic came from outside of Amazon, because they just want more eyeballs. And so you can set up different traffic schemes outside of Amazon, whether it's influencer marketing, social, referral, even paid traffic from your D2C. All of that traffic coming onto Amazon, again, you can get certain concessions and basically discounts in the referral fee you would pay to Amazon because of this. And so knowing how to optimize your listings in that keyword space becomes a very, very important thing. And AI is actually changing a lot of that and the way that you can optimize yourself within that situation. It's called your digital shelf. If anyone's interested in the way that their products show up on Amazon today against competitors, or even some of their competitors' products show up, you can just go to pattern.com. You can click on free tool, back to the notion of providing free tools to customers, and just go look at your own digital shelf across thousands of different keywords and to see truly who are you showing up against for any given product on Amazon today. Okay, so trick number two, if you go to the next slide, is really increasing conversion. We've seen this a lot as well, but so many brands we talk to or that we view aren't even listing the appropriate number of images. Video is obviously becoming a very, very important thing. User-generated content is another area to improve conversion. Optimizing it for mobile. So many different low-hanging fruit. It's so important for you as brands, or if you're working with brands and helping accelerate brands, to really help with them on that front. User ratings. FTC just actually slapped their first fine that I've seen on a brand that actually manipulated reviews. So you have to stay above board. You can't use any black hat tactics to try to, manipulate reviews, or else the fines and the punishment. I've seen Amazon sellers get completely delisted and not being able to sell. These are Amazon sellers that were selling millions of dollars, and by manipulating those reviews, they just completely got shut down. And so important to do this the right way for sure. But improving conversion, when you improve your conversion rate, it's free money, right? You don't even have to increase any additional traffic. Just by improving conversion by 10%, your revenue will go up 10% as well. Okay, so trick number 3, if you click here, is something we haven't spent a lot of time, but one of the biggest probably downsides of selling on a marketplace or allowing other people to sell your goods on a marketplace is because anyone can get access, and Amazon actually rewards people who lower the price. And so it can become this race to the bottom. And so you have to make sure, especially if you're a brand, that you are ensuring your price consistency across omni-channel, and really making sure that the sellers that you decide to sell to, or if you're selling directly to, you don't fall into that trap of just completely lowering your price to a place that it's not profitable. We have a saying, or Amazon has a saying for that, where it gets crapped out, can't realize a profit. And so that happens a lot to sellers that eventually just are not able to even sell on Amazon anymore because they get priced out. So ensuring, and there are a lot of tools to do this. Pattern does this for our brands, but brands can do this on their own as well. A lot of tools out there to make sure you're maintaining your price control and distribution control. Okay, the trick number 4, we're just getting through this here, is really around availability. It's very common for us to see brands losing out on 20, 30% more plus of their revenue simply because they can't stay in stock. And Amazon has made this dead simple. You saw this on an earlier slide, to be able to stay in stock and push inventory into FBA. And you can also ship products directly. You can drop ship it. You can fulfill yourself by merchant. You can have distributors do it. But FBA, honestly, is one of the cheapest, most convenient ways to ship your products same day, next day, and making sure that you stay on top of your ordering is one of the best ways to ensure that you maximize your revenue. So maintaining that availability, obviously trickier if you're in a high SKU or permutation area, like think of apparel, think of sporting and outdoors, where you have to maintain certain colors, certain sizes, all that stuff. But availability is certainly a key to this piece. And then certainly the last trick on all of this really is making sure that you maximize lifetime customer value, right? You deliver, as Neil said in the beginning, you're honest. You add actual value to your customers, and that's excellent products. It's excellent customer services. It's adding new products to the mix that are going to add value. It's bundles, it's virtual bundles, it's physical bundles, it's promotions, it's coupons. All of those things help in boosting that customer lifetime value and spurring additional purchases from your customers over time. And that's another great thing, that if you choose a partner like Pattern, or if you're selling on your own on Seller Central on Amazon, that is the third-party marketplace portal that you can sell your goods. You can start to get really good trends on how many times is this a totally new customer to the marketplace? Is it a repeat customer? Is it male? Is it female? Is it going, what is the zip code? Are we seeing certain trends in that place? So, using a lot of data science in all of these tricks is also a great way to make sure that you're optimizing and pulling those right levers over time.
So now let's break down some case studies within the e-commerce space and some things that you can learn from some of these brands that have done well. And I know we talked about some of the bigger brands earlier, so we wanted to pick some smaller brands for case studies to show you guys that no matter what size that you guys are, even if you're only doing a few $1 million a year in revenue and not doing 100, there's still a lot of hope. There's a skincare company called Skincare by Elena, and it's an e-commerce company founded by a lady named Elena Mitchell. And with them, they were just like, all right, we're in a very competitive space. If you look at the whole beauty segment, people are spending tons of money. Just turn on any TV channel, no matter what time of the day it is, even nighttime, you see people advertising their skincare products. Why? Because it makes money. And we were able to grow their revenue by 150% in a year. They grew their organic traffic specifically by 275%. and they started generating a lot more conversions through A/B testing. We talked about A/B testing. It's not that sexy. A lot of marketers don't care about it, but it's one of the highest leverage points when it comes to generating more revenue from e-commerce. So don't just think about where you can get traffic from. Also think about how you can drive more conversions as well. And when you do a combination of both getting more traffic and improving your conversions, you'll see a much better ROI within the business. Here's another one, Small Pet Select. They have faced a ton of competition from Chewy, Petco, and the list goes on and on. They have really high-end products geared towards specific animals, but they just lacked visibility. And when we started working on things like SEO and content marketing, funnel optimization, what we saw is organic traffic and users increased 345% year over year, and new users were up 493% during their busiest time period, which is November and December, which is a lot of the busiest time periods for most e-commerce companies, specifically November with Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and they achieved a positive return on their investment within 6 months, which is kind of crazy because most SEO campaigns take much longer to see a ROI from. But once you get that flywheel going for things like SEO, it really can crank and just do really well. Here's another one for essential oils. This is another e-commerce client. Increased first page rankings from 56 keywords to 2,206 in just a 1 year time frame. That's a 3,800% increase. They saw their SEO traffic go from the same time frame to less than 2,000 visitors a month to over 80,000 visitors a month. So as you can see, these strategies work. It doesn't matter what industry you're in or how competitive or how non-competitive it is. Either way, just leveraging a lot of these strategies, you can do really well. If you're interested in working with us, you can scan the QR code here, and it'll just end up taking you to a page. You can book a call with our team, and we can end up analyzing your site. It doesn't cost you anything, and we'll just tell you what we can do or what we can't do. Some businesses we can help out drastically. Some businesses aren't a right fit for whatever reason. It could be, we don't think their product is good enough, or it could just be the tactics that we're good at isn't what your business needs right now. And there could be some other basic things that you could just do that'll provide the growth and you don't need to pay us. Or it could just be that, hey, you're in a space that's so competitive. If you only have a budget of $1,000 a month when all your competitors are spending $1 million a month, there's a point where it could be a little bit tough. But you have nothing to lose by just setting up a call. John, you want to break down some of the things Pattern can help people with?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, this is just one of the cheat sheets that you can, take a quick QR code or go to our website and take a look. This is really around helping if you are a brand selling, and it's kind of what I mentioned earlier. If you feel like you're out of control or you have pricing or price erosion issues, take a look. And this is, again, we help some of the biggest brands in the industry get a hold of this sort of stuff.
And of course, there's a summit coming. What's the exact date for the summit?
Yeah, May 10th and 11th. That's a Wednesday and a Thursday, 2023 in Salt Lake City. And Neil spoke last year, was one of the most popular speakers, sold out kind of areas. So we invited him back again this year. He's going to be speaking and doing the organization. NP Digital obviously is going to be doing a lunch session as well, like a workshop. So this is going to be fantastic. We've got other, speakers from TikTok. Amazon is the title sponsor this year. We've got Shopify. We've got Alibaba, and we've got a ton of big brands on stage speaking as well. Cotopaxi and Spanx and Supergoop, and tons of different brands. It's all going to be focused around influencer marketing and D2C marketing and marketplace, and all these other anything relative to e-commerce and getting your unfair share of the $6.5 trillion that Neil mentioned earlier. This is the event to be at for the year, and it's coming up quick. So go to accelerationsummit.com and use that MPD20 discount code to get a big discount, and I hope to see you there in Salt Lake City. We're already over close to 1,000 registrants, and this thing will definitely sell out in the next 3 weeks. So get it now.
Cool. So let's get into some question, and we'll find some time to do the answers. I know this is running a little bit late, but let's do this.
All right. Thanks, guys. Hi, my name's Colin. I'm one of the marketing team members at MPD. We've got tons and tons of questions, and unfortunately, about 3 minutes to get through them. So I have a good one that came to the top of the list, and it's probably for both Neil and David. What is the role of paid advertising if and when you have strong organic rankings for individual products, but you really can't afford paid advertising for the higher level industry category search queries? And then a add on to that, are there benefits to having one team manage the quote unquote omni-channel tactics, paid search, paid social, paid ads on Amazon, website content, and what might some of those benefits be? So sort of a two-part question.
So let's do the second part first. The big advantage, even at our agency NP Digital, when we manage, all the channels for our organization, we're able to take the learnings from one channel and take it to the next channel and help people get better ROI. If you have done well organically, you can afford paid advertising for some of the terms, and you can't do it for all of them. Typically, the main reason for that isn't that it's not effective. You need to look at your funnel, your upsells, your downsells, your conversion rates. Usually fixing those things will allow you to start bidding on the more competitive and expensive terms. Keep in mind your competition can do it, right? Your competition's doing it typically because it's converting and it's working out well, or else people wouldn't be spending that kind of money. So there is a way to make it work. You just got to get a little creative. And going back to the omni-channel one, a great example of this is if we're using creative that we see that works really well for TikTok, we'll start testing it on YouTube Shorts. We'll start testing it on places like Instagram. Or if we're seeing some messaging work better, we'll start taking that text messaging, even if it's in video format, and start implementing it on our Google Ads, or start adjusting those texts and putting it on the landing pages for conversion optimization so to have a congruent message. These are all examples of what happens when one team is working on all the channels.
Awesome. Another question, and this one's probably for John. Any tips on how to manage reviews on Amazon? They clearly influence purchase decisions and are a big part of the Amazon marketplace.
Yeah, absolutely. I know this is a really, really big thing. I mean, Amazon has definitely started to regulate the way that you can even respond to reviews as a seller and how to take it. So I don't want to get fully into the weeds on this, but at a high level, the answer is to build great products and to deliver great services. And that will disproportionately influence the types of reviews that you get. There are sanctioned, your review incentive types of programs on Amazon. And so that's another option, certainly to kind of take care of. And then if you have questions kind of beyond that specific to your industry or to your products, feel free to reach out and just, go to our pattern.com or even just shoot me an email, john@pattern.com, and would happy to give you some tips and specifics.
Awesome. And then one more.
Can I add on to that one? Just ever so quickly. I know we're at time, but one trick, and we talked about this very briefly in the content, but make sure you're not only looking at your own reviews, right? Look at your competitor reviews. If someone's complaining about a competitor feature that your product doesn't have, that's great content for your own product in terms of product description and what makes your product special. So yeah, do look at reviews, but look at the universe of reviews as well.
Colin, let's go for another question or two. Let's try to squeeze in two more if everyone has.
Yeah. So I know we mentioned Shopify. A question is, do you recommend one platform over another for beginners?
I would say Shopify is easy. There's a lot of products and tools that are built on Shopify. That's probably the best place to start.
Yeah. Let's see here. Will e-commerce overall become oversaturated?
John, David?
Personally, I mean, I think we're all aligned here. We're not quite there yet. Not even close to being there yet. The convenience of e-com is definitely clear, and I wish there were more Services, products are covered very well, but services, we're at the tip of the iceberg with what you can purchase online. So from a convenience perspective, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I would say most people don't really realize this. In the US, at least, e-commerce penetration is still only like 21% of all retail sales go through e-commerce. So in China, it's 50. They're the first nation to kind of pass half of sales going through e-commerce versus otherwise. And if you live in China or if you've worked in China, it's way different. I mean, you order everything online. You're ordering your breakfast online. Everything comes to your door. You're making people walk up a 20-story walk up to bring you eggs for breakfast. I mean, it is crazy. We have a long way to go before we get oversaturated with e-commerce for sure.
And we'll do two more. We'll squeeze two more in here. So this one, probably a Neil question. What are the most important metrics to look at or track, specific and relevant to page speed and load time?
Sure. So Google Page Speed Insights, if you just put in your URL, it'll break down a lot of them. They're all technical terms and jargon. I can end up breaking them down, but it's just easier if you just go to Google Page Speed Insights to look at first, first, what is it called? Google Page, what is it? What are the ones calling? First Paint?
First Contentful Paint, that's one of them.
There you go. So they're all a mouthful, but if you just go to Page Speed Insights, you'll see them. And also on Uber Suggest, if you go to neilpatel.com/SEO-analyzer, put in your URL, it'll break down the meaning of each of them too. So forget the technical jargon terms. It'll tell you in layman terms what you need to actually do to fix it.
Okay, last question, and this one's kind of tricky and tough maybe. How do you outrank Etsy, Amazon, eBay? It seems like every product is being dominated by them. Any tips or tricks?
One, build a brand. The bigger the brand you build, the easier it is to rank. Two, focus on a niche first. When you focus on a niche first, you'll be known for a site that's only about X, Y, and Z. And Google does like ranking niche sites that are very authoritative in a specific sector. Also, create amazing content. Follow the EEAT. Experience, expertise, authority, trust. When your content has that, it also makes it easier to rank, which is harder for Amazon or Etsy or any of those guys to show the EEAT.
And that's about it for Q&A.
Awesome. Thank you everyone for your time. John, thanks for showing up as well.
You bet. Thanks so much, y'all.
My name is Neil Patel, and I help companies generate more revenue through digital marketing. Entrepreneur Magazine said I was the #1 marketer in the world, and they also said I created one of the 100 most brilliant companies. I started my first website at the age of 16. I took all the money that I earned from working at an amusement park, and I paid a marketing firm. The marketing firm provided no results, and I quickly learned that I wasn't alone. Out of my frustration and from being broke, I had no choice but to learn marketing. My first client was a power supply manufacturer. I helped them generate another $25 million in sales, and from that point, I realized the power of marketing. I helped everyone that I could, and I built my reputation by being honest and over-delivering. I've helped companies like Google, NBC, Viacom, General Motors, eBay, but nothing's more satisfying than helping small business owners succeed. I founded 4 multi-million-dollar companies, and I've learned all the mistakes that you should avoid. I've written about them on Forbes, Entrepreneur, Inc., Fast Company, and even on my own blogs. It's so awesome to know that colleges from all around the world are teaching my material in their classroom. Over the years, I've received awards from the President of the United States, the House of Representatives, and the United Nations. People believe marketing is expensive and difficult. Fortunately, that's not true. There is a formula. Even if you don't have a technical bone in your body, you can get results. And my mission is to share this formula with you.